Please bear with me. It's freaking cold outside, and I'm trying to hurry up and get this done. I've already shot this before, but I didn't really like how it turned out. So this is going to be a test of what I talk about, how I put things together, and some editing. So here we go. So to start things off, I want to talk about my previous experiences with gardening. So growing up, I would always watch my dad as he grew his garden in ground and planting all the vegetables and getting all the vegetables growing up. Um, Really, all he did was plant seeds. He threw compost straight into the garden. He got manure from the police department because he was a firefighter, so I guess he got a good deal on it. Um, that is just about my knowledge that I had before I actually started vegetable gardening last year. Um, so here in the second season, I just wanted to throw this together for you guys, the viewers. So like I said, my father grew a vegetable garden straight in ground, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the first thing that I would like to talk about for the 10 things is raised garden beds. If you've been following my channel, you guys know that I have a 4x8 raised garden bed. I just bought a few planks from the local hardware store, cut one of them in half, and I built my raised garden bed. There are many different types of raised garden beds. I've watched videos on many different types. I will try to include some clips, if possible, of those examples. They are the metal raised garden beds. They look really nice. I'm not sure about the prices because I'm not trying to spend any money, but I'll try to look them up before I actually post this video to give you guys a good idea if you're interested in that. The benefits to having the metal ones are that they will not break down or break apart over time. They'll last longer. The other benefits for having a raised garden bed is as you get older, it's a little bit harder to bend over and reach and all that stuff. So it should be easier on your back. Anyway, that's what I did with my garden is I planted a raised garden bed, and I've even started a second raised garden bed. So we'll see how things go. Number two on my 10 things that I've learned about gardening is all about worm castings. So at work, sometime last year, a guy was telling me all about the benefits of worm castings. So what I did was I went to a local gardening store and bought a big bag of worm castings. Spent about $30 if memory serves me correctly. I got about, it was probably, I don't know, 20 pounds of worm castings. But he didn't really explain the benefits. But through my research and all the YouTube videos that I've been watching, there are a lot of beneficial microbes in the worm castings. So um, it slightly differs than compost, but it's basically compost plus. That's what I'll call it. But worm castings, the worms will break down whatever material that you give them, and in their digestive tract has other microbes that regular composting does not have. But worm castings are good. Get you some worm castings. Number three is a segue from the worm castings. Um, Vermicomposting and worm farming. So, because I spent money on worm castings, I wanted to see how I could get them myself. And I watched a lot of videos, a lot of different channels about making worm bins, buying your worms, and getting your own worm castings. So it's been a process. I have many videos on my own channel. Please give them a try. Take a look at them, watch them. Let me know what you think. But yeah, I'm always looking for ways to save money. So I had to spend a little, I guess, a little on the worms. So I bought worms from Uncle Jim's worm farm, and I got my own worm castings. Number four on my 10 list of 10 things that I've learned about gardening is composting. So, talked about worm castings and vermicomposting. Now I'll talk about regular composting. So, when you're composting, you need greens, which are nitrogen based products, and browns, which are carbon based products. I won't get into the details because I don't really know, but leaves and shredded paper and cardboard will count for your browns, and kitchen scraps and garden waste and yard waste and grass clippings will count as your nitrogen, and they need to work together to break down to use the compost in your garden. Number five, propagating. So I looked up the definition, and it simply means to spread. So technically, planting seeds is technically propagating. But what I was actually referring to is cuttings. So in my experience, I have cut some basil off of the main plant, and I soaked it in water, and that developed a new root system. And then I planted that and started a whole new basil plant. So I just thought that it was interesting and it could be very helpful, and it can save money from propagating your own plants. What else happened? I accidentally broke off a stem of one of my tomato plants, and I was freaking out. And I looked up how to restore it, and it was the same thing. You soak the bottom in water, and it'll start to develop a root system, and then you just replant that, and you basically have a whole new plant. Number 6 is companion planting. So I don't really honestly understand the benefits, but apparently some plants can promote other plants. One example is basil and tomatoes. So when I propagated my basil plant, I made sure I replanted it next to my tomato plants. And what I've noticed was that the basil took off. Really, at the end of the season, my tomatoes took off too. So again, I'm honestly not sure exactly why, but you know, it turned out pretty positive to me once I learned that that was a thing. In addition to that, companion planting can also be planting flowers around your vegetable garden to attract pollinators. So I did buy a pack of seeds from, or many packs of seeds from seedneeds.com, and my intentions are to, just like I said, attract pollinators, bees, and things like that to help pollinate my vegetable garden as well for next season. So, more to come on that. Number 7 is enemy planting. I'm not exactly sure if that's what you're supposed to call it or if that's what it's actually called, but I came across something in all of my YouTube watching that some plants can also compete with other plants, therefore stopping their growth and development. Um, I have tried to grow Brussels sprouts. I have tried to grow green onions. I've tried to grow white sweet onions and peppers in my raised garden bed, and nothing happened. So I'm wondering if enemy planting was the cause. Number 8 is cold stratification. I have done a video about um, trying to cold stratify some lavender seeds because last year I tried to plant some lavender seeds and nothing happened. I learned that it has to go through a cold stratification process. The definition is a process that mimics the natural process of seeds overwintering underground to encourage germination. It involves exposing seeds to cold and moist conditions to break down their hard seed coats and start the germination process. So, yeah, I failed at growing lavender last year. I tried the cold stratification process this past year, and still nothing's happening. I did buy some new seeds from Seed Needs, so we'll see what happens. I do still have some of the old seeds in the old packet, and I'll try to plant some over the winter to see if that makes any difference. And then I'll do the same with the new seeds that I have just to see what happens. But take cold stratification into consideration. Same with my blueberries. I bought some blueberry cuttings from the local department stores, and I waited for the frost to go away before I actually planted them in the pots. And I really think that that hindered its development. Same with my grapes. I bought cuttings from the store and planted some grapes, and they've done absolutely nothing. So hopefully letting them go over the winter will show something new for next spring. I will let you know. Stay tuned to find out. Number 9 is vertical gardening. So last year, the only space that I had was a 4 foot by 8 foot raised garden bed. I planted many different things, and of course, I caught the bug, the green thumb bug, and I wanted to plant more. And when I learned about vertical gardening, that really kind of opened my eyes to the space saving abilities that it has. My first season, I was growing some cucumbers, and they were kind of just going all over the place. I staked in some sticks so that I could climb up. Didn't really work out the way that I wanted it to, but I thought that I would be more ready for it this year. Unfortunately, my cucumbers didn't do very well this year, but my green beans did. So if you have a chance to go back and follow my weekly garden updates to see my green beans, it's pretty cool. So I have a lot of future plans for other trellises that I'm making, um, to see how things really go from there. Number 10 is winter prep. So last year, I did absolutely nothing for winter prep. I ripped out whatever vegetables I had left over, um, even though that I was told not to. I was trying to do what my dad did, and he basically turned his dirt over every year, and he did that whole thing. So that was his way, and I'm trying to learn my own way, keeping all of that in mind. So I ripped out the vegetables, ripped out the plants, and didn't do anything else. Basically, left it bare. And over the winter, I guess it had compacted the soil, because by the time the spring came and I was ready to start planting some seeds, it was too hard to work with. So I had to buy more soil, buy more, work in the compost and do all these things to amend it, just so that I could plant some new seeds. So what I did this year was leaf mulch. I don't get very many leaves. I did make a video about how I got some leaves from my brother's house. Go ahead and give that a try, or check that out. And hopefully that'll help me out for the growing season next spring. So So that was 10 things that I learned about gardening that I think that would be beneficial for any new gardener or anybody interested in starting gardening. Um, Bear with me. Like I said, it's pretty cold outside, and I'm trying to hurry up and get this done. It is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Um, I'm also going to try to work on my editing to see if I can squeeze in some old clips of the things that I've been talking about to show you guys some visual examples. Until next time, YouTube, thank you all very much. Please subscribe. Please like. Please share. Please leave a comment. All that good stuff. Thank you very much. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.